Well, first of all, I want to express my gratitude to Texas University School of Law, and especially to my dear friend, Richard Albert, one of the greatest scholars of our times. And I also want to share this award with my court, the Supreme Court of Brazil, and my 10 esteemed colleagues. At the high personal and institutional cost, I should say, we managed to prevent in Brazil the advance of authoritarian extremism and the collapse of the institutions. It is with this backdrop that I would like to make a few very brief reflections on the time that was given to me. I lived through a dictatorship. I met people that were tortured. I met journalists that were censored. I met composers that had their music banned. I knew people that went into exile. I knew professors that were arbitrarily removed from their positions. I myself was forbidden to teach at the beginning of my career by the military regime. I also learned from reliable sources about people who disappeared, or rather were forcibly disappeared, and about people who were murdered in barracks with the authorities simulating suicides. I know a journalist who was arrested when she was 18, pregnant, and was held for hours in a dark room with a boa constrictor. It is public knowledge that some political opponents of the military regime in Brazil had their bodies thrown from helicopters in the open sea. I lived through a dictatorship. No one told me how it was like. I was there, and I saw it with my eyes. Therefore, for me, for my generation, constitutionalism and democracy are so important. They are the antidotes to everything that I have just described. The world is witnessing the rise of authoritarian and extremist populism in many countries. Its protagonists are charismatic leaders who offer simplistic and wrong solutions for complex problems. They are anti-pluralist. They believe that only them represent the people, and anti-institutional. They have this conspiracy theory that institutions are dominated by cosmopolitan, liberal, and corrupted elites. And for that very reason, they seek to discredit them, if not destroy them. Frequently, populist leaders are also denialists regarding vaccines and climate change that threatens the world. Many of them are also racist, misogynist, and homophobes. Social exclusion is their hallmark. There is a delicate point here that should serve as a warning to all of us. Constitutional democracy, which is the ideal that unites us here, is a project of collective self-government that should include all people. Well then, many people have been excluded from this project, and for that very reason have no commitment to it. Authoritarian populism flows through the shortcomings of democracy, through the unfulfilled promises of equal opportunity and prosperity for all. There is still much poverty and inequality in the world. It's necessary to confront authoritarianism, but to have the self-criticism to recognize that constitutional democracy has not delivered on all its promises, and we need to remedy that. The world is going through dark times, filled with wars, abuse of power, arrogance, and organized campaigns of hatred and misinformation. We must not let ourselves contaminated by this wave of negativity. We need to keep the lights on and build barriers against the moral and social regression of our times. Constitutional democracy is a trench that accommodates liberals and conservatives, and everyone believing in the rule of law, believing in the intrinsic equality of all human beings, in substantive freedom and social progress. There is only no room for those promoting intolerance, violence, and discrimination. And to end, in this scenario, today, as it has always been, our role must be to serve the cause of humanity, which includes goodness, justice, respect for all people, and human dignity. At times, the advancement of civilization seems stalled. In these moments, our duty is to push history in the right direction. That's why we're here. That's what constitutional scholars are made for. Thank you very much.